Have you ever wondered why some 1970s cartoons seem to appear once, vanish, and then reappear years later in their full form online? The decade was packed with bold ideas and animation styles that pushed comfort zones in ways networks did not expect. Midway through the decade, a quiet wave of restrictions swept across stations. And the reasons were not always what you think. Today, we look at 15 cartoons once pushed aside that you can finally watch. Uncut. Number 15. Mazinger Z. 1972. Mazinger Z did not tiptoe onto television. It marched in with towering robots, bright energy beams, and a sense of scale that felt huge for its time. Viewers in several regions were stunned. Cartoons before this had been light and gentle. But Mazinger Z introduced mechanical clashes that looked far more intense than anything audiences had seen. Even though it was mostly machines in motion, the action felt heavy and sometimes overwhelming for younger viewers. Some countries in Europe decided the style was too strong, especially for children who were used to slower, softer shows. Networks trimmed scenes, rearranged moments, or skipped entire episodes. Fans who later discovered the original uncut version were amazed at how different it felt. The pace was faster, the stakes seemed larger, and the overall tone was far more dramatic. Mazinger Z created a blueprint for future giant robot stories. It showed that animation could explore large-scale ideas without needing live action. It also taught networks that new genres could catch them by surprise. Today, full uncut episodes survive online, and they reveal why this series became legendary. It was ahead of its time, bold in its choices, and absolutely committed to delivering something viewers had never seen before. In short, Mazinger Z went big, and history caught up later. Number 14. Devilman, 1972. Devilman shocked many networks when it debuted. On the surface, it looked like another action fantasy with bright colors and dramatic characters. But underneath the style was a story heavier and more emotional than anything common in early 1970s animation. The main character faced inner struggles, shifting loyalties, and challenging questions about courage and responsibility. These deeper themes made some broadcasters uneasy. The show's intensity felt too strong for certain markets, especially those used to cheerful, easygoing stories. Networks quietly reduced its airtime, sent it to later time blocks, or chose not to show certain episodes. They simply did not know how to place a cartoon that looked youthful but carried the emotional weight of a long adventure drama. Yet this same depth is why the uncut version became treasured later. Fans discovered a story that did not hold back in exploring big choices and personal sacrifice. The artwork was expressive, the pacing felt ambitious, and the atmosphere was unlike anything else from that era. Devilman influenced a generation of storytellers who wanted to push animation into thoughtful, dramatic territory. Many modern shows owe part of their tone and emotional style to this series. Today, the full uncut episodes can be found online, offering a rare look at a cartoon that dared to move fast, think big, and challenge expectations long before animation matured into what we know today. Number 13. Gatchaman Original Version, 1972. Before Gatchaman was adapted for international audiences, the original version was known for being fast, stylish, and surprisingly intense. Viewers saw a team of young heroes using advanced suits, gliders, and futuristic technology to stop large-scale threats. The scale of the action impressed fans, but some broadcasters worried it leaned too heavily into high-stakes storytelling for children's blocks. International versions removed entire sequences and simplified plots to make the show gentler. But the uncut Japanese episodes carried sharp momentum, emotional character arcs, and dramatic visuals that were considered too strong for younger viewers at the time. The contrast between versions created a long-running debate. Should cartoons be limited to light stories, or could they explore deeper adventures? The uncut Gatchaman answered that question long before networks were ready. It presented teamwork not as a simple theme, but as something built through challenge, tension, and real consequences for mistakes. Characters learned hard lessons, found inner strength, and often faced situations far more complex than typical cartoons of the era. Its influence echoed for decades. Team-based action shows, futuristic suits, Sleek aircraft and stylish combat sequences all trace roots back to this bold 1970s classic. Thanks to modern preservation and online archiving, the uncut version is available in full, giving viewers a chance to see what made the original Gatchaman both admired and restricted in its time. Number 12. Space Battleship Yamato, 1974. Space Battleship Yamato did something few 1970s shows dared. It treated animation like an epic voyage. Instead of short, disconnected episodes, it told a long, emotional story about a crew traveling across space to save their home. The pacing was slow and reflective, the visuals were atmospheric, and the themes were surprisingly mature. This ambitious tone made broadcasters uncertain. Several countries stepped back from airing it because the story leaned into themes of loss, bravery, and large-scale missions that felt more like live-action cinema than weekend cartoons. The emotional weight was unusual for a medium mostly known for quick laughs and bright optimism. Some regions restricted the series simply because they did not know how children would respond to something so serious, yet the very elements that caused hesitation later became the reason fans adored it. The uncut version reveals sweeping backgrounds, carefully built character development, and story arcs that unfold over many episodes. It set the stage for future long-form animated storytelling, proving that animation could handle drama with the same finesse as film. Its legacy is massive. Entire genres of modern space animation draw inspiration from Yamato's courage to slow down, breathe, and let the story grow. Today, the uncut episodes are available online, allowing new viewers to experience a journey that once felt too grand for its time. Space Battleship Yamato did not just aim high, it soared. Number 11. Majoko Megu-chan, 1974. Majoko Megu-chan looked cheerful and fun at first glance, with bright colors, upbeat characters, and a whimsical charm. But it also introduced a kind of storytelling that some broadcasters were not ready for in the 1970s. It focused on a young girl learning responsibility, choice-making, and personal growth, all wrapped inside a magical adventure setting. For some regions, the idea of a girl using enchanted abilities to navigate everyday life felt too unusual for a children's slot. Networks worried that younger viewers might imitate the character's bold confidence or imagine themselves wielding special powers. These harmless concerns led to restrictions, time slot changes, and in some areas, complete removal from regular broadcasting. However, the show was groundbreaking in its portrayal of emotion, independence, and youthful determination. Megu faced challenges with optimism, learned from her mistakes, and demonstrated how growth often comes from stepping outside one's comfort zone. The uncut version reveals clever humor, warm relationships, and surprisingly thoughtful lessons about friendship and perseverance. Majoko Megu-chan quietly laid the foundation for many magical adventure shows that followed in later decades. Its influence can be seen in series that highlight teamwork, compassion, and the courage to try new experiences. Today, uncut episodes survive online, allowing viewers to see how a simple, lighthearted idea once sparked debate and eventually became a beloved part of animation history. Number 10. The Groovy Ghoulies, 1971. The Groovy Ghoulies arrived with a vibe that no one quite expected. It blended lighthearted comedy with classic spooky characters, giving television a cheerful version of a haunted clubhouse. Frankenstein, Dracula, and other famous figures performed songs, told jokes, and turned dark themes into something playful. But that very mix caused a surprising amount of pushback. Some regions believed the show leaned too heavily into spooky imagery for young viewers. Even though everything was silly and upbeat, a few decision-makers thought children might take the supernatural themes too literally. As a result, certain stations moved it to later hours, trimmed episodes, or avoided re-airing it completely. The reasoning may seem mild today, but at the time, anything even slightly eerie was treated with caution. What made the show memorable was its bold fusion of humor, music, and stylized characters. It felt like a musical variety show inside a cartoon universe. The jokes were fast, the songs were catchy, and the personalities were oversized in the best way. The Groovy Ghoulies ultimately became a symbol of how animation could take something traditionally spooky and turn it into pure fun. Many modern comedy cartoons owe part of their tone to this series, which softened dark settings with warmth and charm. Today, uncut episodes float freely online, proving that what once worried a handful of broadcasters was actually one of the most joyful, creative cartoons of its decade. Number 9. The Funky Phantom, 1971. The Funky Phantom had one of the strangest setups of any early 1970s cartoon. A group of teens exploring an old building accidentally freed a friendly ghost from a long-lost era. Instead of frightening anyone, this ghost quickly became part of their team, helping them solve puzzles and escape lighthearted danger. It was playful, goofy, and wonderfully odd. But some networks felt uneasy about showing a spirit as a cheerful sidekick. They believed children might misunderstand the fantasy element and become too fascinated with ghostly ideas. Because of these concerns, the Funky Phantom was reduced or shifted off-peak schedules in certain regions. These decisions were not about anything harmful in the show, but simply uncertainty about how far imagination could stretch in children's entertainment. The humor was gentle, the animation warm, and the cast lovable. The ghost himself was more comedic than mysterious, often stumbling into solutions by accident. The show also had a charming historical twist, teaching light snippets of old-time culture through humorous moments. Even though it faced hesitation from broadcasters, the Funky Phantom carved out a special place in cartoon history as one of the earliest series to blend mystery, comedy, and a supernatural buddy. Today, the uncut episodes are easy to find, and modern viewers can finally appreciate how harmless and delightful the show truly was. Number 8. Wheelie and the Chopper Bunch, 1974. Wheelie and the Chopper Bunch raced onto screens with a burst of color and energy. The main character, Wheelie, was a clever little car constantly trying to outsmart a rival group of talking motorcycles. The show leaned into slapstick chases, playful rivalry, and fun mechanical personalities. But its lively pace raised small concerns during an era when anything fast or mischievous was questioned. Some broadcasters hesitated because the Chopper Bunch often behaved like a troublesome group, always scheming and causing problems for Wheelie. None of it was harmful, but executives worried younger viewers might imitate high-energy antics or misunderstand the rivalry. A few stations trimmed scenes involving the wilder chases or avoided reruns altogether. Still, the show delivered something unique. Vehicles had full personalities, the jokes were rapid-fire, and the backup characters added charm. Wheelie's calm, quick-thinking nature served as a subtle lesson about handling trouble with patience instead of reacting recklessly. Over time, fans realized the show's reputation was much more dramatic than the cartoon itself. It was simply a fast-paced comedy with a creative twist. Today, the uncut version is available online, and viewers can finally enjoy every chase, gag, and silly interaction exactly as the creators intended. Wheelie and the Chopper Bunch remains a reminder that even the mildest shows could raise eyebrows in the cautious 1970s. Number 7. Help! It's the Hair Bear Bunch, 1971. Help! It's the Hair Bear Bunch served pure chaos with a grin. 3 clever bears lived in a zoo, but spent most of their time outsmarting their caretakers and slipping out for playful adventures. Their plans were elaborate, their teamwork impressive, and their comedic timing spot on. But beneath the laughs, networks saw something that worried them. In the early 1970s, cartoons were expected to encourage obedience and good manners. The Hair Bear Bunch did the opposite. It showed characters finding loopholes, bending rules, and pulling pranks on authority figures. Even though everything was harmless, the idea of tricking adults felt too bold for some broadcasters. A few stations reduced reruns or tucked episodes into less visible slots. The animation had a lively, bouncy look, and each bear had a distinct personality. Hair Bear, the leader, always had a plan. Booby Bear spoke in a fast, jazzy style, while Square Bear tried to keep up with every scheme. Their antics formed a formula that future cartoons would repeat for decades. A group of quirky characters working together to twist everyday situations into comedic adventures. Despite early hesitation, the show built a loyal fan base who loved its inventive spirit. Today, its uncut episodes can be found online, proving that the harmless rebellion that once puzzled broadcasters now feels charming and nostalgic. Help! It's the Hair Bear Bunch is a perfect example of how even soft mischief could be considered daring in its era. Number 6. Hong Kong Phooey. 1974. Hong Kong Phooey burst onto television with a catchy theme song and an endlessly enthusiastic hero. The main character was a mild-mannered janitor who transformed into a masked crime fighter with the help of a trusty handbook and an eager cat sidekick. The show mixed comedy, clumsy heroics, and lively action in a way that instantly stood out. But some broadcasters felt uncomfortable with how the cartoon represented certain cultural elements. They believed younger viewers might form inaccurate impressions based on the exaggerated comedic style. This led to temporary pauses in some markets and limited reruns in others. Nothing in the show was mean-spirited, but its broad humor could be misunderstood through a modern lens. Despite this, Hong Kong Phooey became a fan favorite. Its slapstick approach, warm-hearted lead, and snappy humor captured the playful spirit of 70s animation. The hero's mistakes were part of the charm. He often solved problems by accident, outsmarting villains without knowing how he did it. This gave the show a gentle message. Effort and optimism can take you farther than skill alone. The animation had flair, the voice acting was charismatic, and the music tied everything together in a memorable package. Today, the full Uncut series is available online, welcoming new viewers to enjoy a show that once sparked debates but ultimately became a timeless piece of cartoon history. Number 5. Rickety Rocket. 1979. Rickety Rocket took Saturday mornings into space with a cheerful burst of energy. The show followed 4 clever teens and their lively talking rocket ship as they zipped across the galaxy solving problems. The twist was that their rocket, Rickety, wasn't exactly top of the line. It sputtered, shook, squeaked, and misbehaved at the worst possible moments, turning every adventure into a mix of comedy and teamwork. But some broadcasters looked at the concept and hesitated. The idea of teenagers flying around space with no adults in sight felt too bold for the time. Networks worried children might copy the independent attitude or misunderstand the show's playful exaggeration. A few stations trimmed episodes or declined reruns not because of anything harmful, but because the upbeat independence felt ahead of its era. What made Rickety Rocket special was its lively spirit. The characters were determined, curious, and always willing to learn from their mistakes. Their friendship felt genuine, and their missions carried positive messages about staying calm under pressure and thinking creatively. The animation was colorful, the jokes upbeat, and Rickety himself was one of the most charmingly imperfect vehicles ever drawn. Today, the Uncut series is easy to find online, giving viewers a chance to enjoy a cartoon that blended fun sci-fi ideas with warm-hearted teamwork. What once seemed too energetic now feels like a celebration of imagination at full speed. Number 4. Battle of the Planets, 1978. Battle of the Planets became a worldwide hit, but many viewers never saw its full form. The international version that aired in the late 70s was softened, trimmed, and reshaped to meet stricter broadcasting rules. What fans later discovered was that the original Japanese footage carried stronger tension, deeper character moments, and bigger emotional stakes. Even though everything stayed safely within adventure territory, the combined tone felt more dramatic than what networks expected from a youth show. The unedited scenes included faster pacing, clearer motivations, and a more complete look at the team's challenges. These elements were removed not because they were harmful, but because some broadcasters felt the tone leaned too intense for younger audiences. The contrast between the calm, edited version and the lively, uncut version surprised fans for decades. Battle of the Planets introduced a sleek team dynamic that influenced countless future cartoons. Each member had a distinct personality, unique skills, and emotional depth. The mix of teamwork, futuristic aircraft, and stylish battles created a blueprint that animation would follow for years. Today, the uncut footage floats around online, giving fans a rare chance to see the show's original power. It is smoother, richer, and more dramatic than the edited broadcast version ever revealed. Battle of the Planets proves that sometimes the version meant to tone things down hides a masterpiece waiting to be rediscovered. Number 3. Starblazers, 1979. Starblazers brought a level of storytelling to animation that felt almost revolutionary. Instead of delivering short adventures, the show unfolded in a long, emotional arc that followed a dedicated crew on a journey through deep space. Their mission was filled with hope, pressure, and difficult choices. This kind of grand narrative was rare for youth programming, and that rarity caused hesitation. Some broadcasters worried that the serious tone and large-scale stakes might feel overwhelming. Others simply preferred lighter, more comedic cartoons. In certain markets, the series aired only in select time slots or faced restrictions due to its dramatic structure. These concerns now seem small, but at the time, animated shows with long, continuous stories were unusual and considered risky. Despite these obstacles, Starblazers became a landmark series. The uncut version is filled with detailed artwork, carefully paced character arcs, and a sense of adventure that feels almost cinematic. Every step of the journey builds meaning. Every challenge brings the crew closer together. The show proved that animation could carry emotional weight without losing accessibility. It inspired generations of creators to treat the medium with seriousness and ambition. Today, uncut episodes are widely available online, allowing new viewers to finally appreciate a story that once felt too big for its decade. Starblazers didn't just push limits, it helped redraw them. Number 2. Galaxy Express 999. 1978. Galaxy Express 999 took viewers on a cosmic train ride unlike any other. The series followed a young boy traveling across distant worlds, each stop offering a lesson about courage, kindness, or the value of being human. The atmosphere was dreamy and poetic, and the show dared to explore emotional ideas at a time when most cartoons stayed firmly light and simple. Because of these deeper themes, some broadcasters were unsure how to classify it. The tone felt more like a reflective novel than a routine adventure, which made certain networks hesitant. A few stations restricted it simply because they thought children might not fully understand the layered storytelling. But fans cherished those very layers. The uncut episodes showcased imaginative planets, clever character designs, and thoughtful moments between the leads. The music added a gentle, almost nostalgic rhythm that made every stop on the cosmic railway feel meaningful. Galaxy Express 999 helped animation stretch into mature storytelling without using anything harsh or frightening. It proved that a children's show could inspire reflection. Today, the Uncut series is available online, allowing viewers to experience its dreamy blend of science fiction and heartfelt storytelling. Galaxy Express 999 was not just a cartoon. It was a moving story wrapped in gentle adventure. Number 1. Future Boy Conan, 1978. Future Boy Conan is often called one of the greatest hidden gems of the 1970s. Created by a young Hayao Miyazaki before he became world famous, the series followed Conan, a spirited boy growing up in a world recovering from a massive conflict. Instead of leaning into gloom, the show celebrated hope, friendship, and resilience. Its bright landscapes and fast-paced adventures gave viewers a sense of optimism, even when the characters faced tough situations. Broadcasters in some regions hesitated because the story included a vision of a damaged future world, something rarely seen in youth programming at the time. Networks wondered whether children were ready for a setting shaped by environmental consequences and rebuilding. These concerns, though mild by today's standards, led to limited distribution. Yet the uncut version reveals one of the most uplifting stories of its decade. Conan's energy is infectious. His friendships feel genuine. His determination to protect others and rebuild his world carries a positive message that still resonates. The animation is lively, the action sequences inventive, and the imaginative world-building set a foundation for many of Miyazaki's later masterpieces. Today, the Uncut series is finally available online in full, allowing viewers to enjoy a bright, adventurous story that once felt too daring for its era. Future Boy Conan didn't predict the future, it inspired it. The 1970s may seem distant now, but these cartoons proved the decade was bursting with ideas that stretched far beyond what broadcasters expected. Shows once trimmed, shuffled, or quietly tucked away can finally be seen the way they were meant to be seen. Which one surprised you most? Tell us in the comments and share this video with someone who loves hidden animation history. And if you want more deep dives like this, make sure to subscribe. The next forgotten classic might already be waiting.